Do you have a device or an angle for Apple to go after if they were truly ambitious? Or maybe they are and it's just in stealth. What do you think? You think it's the goggles, the glasses? You think it's a pendant? You think it's Optimus? What do you think?
I don't think they have any chance of
Okay.
anything.
Great. Love it.
I would take the exact opposite of what Friedberg says. Look at this chart, and I'll tell you why.
Okay. Here we go.
This
Great
chart
discussion.
this chart is not a strategy. So this is a chart of Apple's revenue. And what you see is iPhone is completely stalled out. And so to Thomas's point, where do you make money? You make money in other hardware. This is not a strategy of success. This is a strategy of inefficiency. I lost my AirPods. I need to buy a new pair. Oh, the cable's changed. I need to buy a bunch of those. This and that. And a this and that strategy is not a strategy. It's a tactical play for revenue optimization in the short term. A company that focuses on this kind of revenue growth is not capable of creating something that's exceptionally unexpected. That will come from a new company who has no ties to the past, has no nostalgia on the fact that we're going to swap out the connector type and, book another $1 billion. What Thomas said is an indictment actually about their ability to do it. When your AirPods business is 2 or 3 times bigger than OpenAI, what there is internally, when you try to have a strategy meeting about what to do, is derision about OpenAI because you're like, that's small. And even our AirPods business is 3 times big. That's what some smartass MBA will say in that meeting, and it'll shut the meeting down. So how do you expect that culture to then all of a sudden get their act together? I think it's exceptionally hard.
It's a good
And here's
point.
the clip on cue. Play the clip, Nick. It's a great point. Here's the clip.
I'm Apple nostalgic.
Me too. Man, bring Steve Jobs back. Watch this lunacy.
You probably saw that Johnny Ive is linked up with OpenAI to create some sort of future AI device.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
I don't either. Yeah.
Is this a space that Apple's looking at? Is this a space that goes beyond what you have in the current lineup of devices? Something that is more personal? Maybe you wear it, glasses?
I think we have some extremely personal wearable devices. If you want something that's aware of your environment with audio, I think you're wearing one right now on your wrist. If you want something that you can capture the environment with and see and also receive visual content, you might just have one in your pocket right now. Are there other form factors that can make sense to AI? Sure, but pretty hard to beat something that's with you all the time and glanceable, or provides a nice screen that you can interact with. I don't know what they're working on.
What do you think, Chamath?
Again, I think I want to be very clear about what I'm saying. That is a very competent, Craig Federighi, very, very competent executive. And whoever the person beside him is, that guy's, I'm going to assume, competent as well. They're competent at making money the way that they've made money for the last 17 years with no meaningful disturbance. And I think it's just something to appreciate that after 17 years of unmitigated linear success, it's very difficult to retool yourself. It's like asking Michael Jordan to go and all of a sudden become an all-star baseball. It doesn't work. And so I think it's okay, though. This is my point. It's okay, guys, to have creative destruction of companies. Like, there was probably a version of us blathering on about HP and being nostalgic about the transistor radio that they made and the, HP 12B calculator that they made. And oh my God, why can't they figure their shit out? And where are we today? HP doesn't even exist. It's okay.
I mean, just Thomas, the fact that they launched Siri, they bought that company, and Siri can't do anything other than like an alarm, can barely play a song. It barely can do directions. I mean, literally, we're in year like 27 of Siri, and it can't do anything. And then I have the Google and Grok voice, and when I turn that on, it does whatever I want. It will load on my Pixel. It loads other applications, fires it off, does specific tasks in it. It's absolutely disgraziato.
On your
Thomas,
what? On your Pixel?
I have a Pixel. When I flip open my Pixel.
Chamath,
It's
I would
9
argue
inches.
to you.
I have the Pixel 9, Chamath. It's the Anaconda of smartphones. Pixel 9 foldable.
Got it.
It's the greatest assistant ever. It's what Steve Jobs showed Siri. I had you at 9?
You had me at Anaconda, yeah.
I had you at 9 inches?
Yeah.
And we can all aspire. Maybe get Roman. Get
Thomas,
that extra inch, Thomas. Go ahead.
Chamath, I would argue to you that I think this management team has done it once.
and it's in the transition of their gross profit base, which doesn't show in the chart that you just highlighted, but was something that I kind of lived as an analyst covering the stock for a long time, where if you remember over a decade ago, 90+% of their gross profit was a one-time hardware sale on the iPhone. And no one thought that they would ever be able to get away from the drug of selling that one iPhone unit, right? And cut to, over a decade later, it's 40%, right? And I don't think they get enough credit for actually transitioning from hardware to a recurring gross profit base. But look, you might argue that that was an easier pivot and challenge than what they're going to face. And so let's see whether they can do it. The other thing, guys, I wonder about, I know we want to talk about IPOs, but I do wonder whether Zuck buying Scale for $15 billion gives air cover for other companies to really start being aggressive, right? And to me, as we think about Circle and CoreWeave, two companies that have gone IPO recently, it's kind of amazing, kind of numerically, that the charts are almost identical, even on a dollar basis, on a share price, right? Because to me, what it says, we were talking about the dispersion of the Mag 7 before, right? Which are going to do well, which are not. I expect we're going to have a lot of opinions on this over the next few years. And frankly, they may change. We may think Apple one way today, it may change in a month, right? But I do think the market is starting to realize that there is dispersion, that AI might create some all winners or some winners and then some losers, right? And is starting to think about, okay, how do I want to be positioned for the next 5 years? What are big open-ended growth opportunities? And here comes two companies, one levered to crypto, right? And the other levered to AI. So I don't think it's a surprise. To me, these things are intertwined.
You're 100% on, because here's the thing. The average profit margin of the S&P 493 is, drumroll please, 12%. The average growth of the S&P 493 is, drumroll please, single digits. So to your point, why would you be long any of these 493 companies that may turn around and one day just get decapitated by something you don't even know, that's getting cooked up by a couple kids in a garage using OpenAI or Grok or what have you? It just makes a lot more sense when you find investable companies in the big themes of the future to, at a minimum, hedge, right? Be less long the past and frankly make some bets about the future. And I think that that's where you're seeing these IPOs just absolutely rip. What is a better comparison, in my opinion, are the companies that are truly levered to the future themes of AI and crypto versus any of these IPOs that have happened of companies that are not. And I think what you see is there's a dispersion there as well. And they are being treated almost as similarly, Jason, as the S&P 493. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's fine. They get some reasonable gains. But if you're levered to any of those two trends, you're off to the races because it's just so disruptive. People don't want to be bag holding these old legacy companies.